This video starts on a white screen. The Microsoft logo appears. The screen fades to black. A green background featuring the letters A and I appears, followed by a slideshow showcasing new technologies.
AI for Accessibility is a Microsoft program committed to influencing the future of technology to empower people living with disabilities. Whether reimagining the future of accessible education, building experiences that are accessible for people of all abilities, or developing AI-powered technology to make the world more inclusive, we are pushing the limits of what AI can do. Today we explore how two companies, Verboso and Ascendia, are leveraging the power of AI to revolutionize education and therapy for the digital age.
Steve, Alex, thank you for joining us, and I'm really incredibly excited to talk about a very important topic, which is speech therapy for kids. To help our audience with the topic, why is it important for you, and what is the opportunity that you both have seen in your different sides of the world?
For us, it's something connected to education, to digital education, and to impact. We believe that education must be made considering the current times. So you cannot disconnect education from technology, and including speech therapy and speech therapy applied with education, everything needs to be connected to the current global situation. So that is why we need to trust the tools and to provide the training to actually create real results.
At Verboso, we really started out when our CTO's little brother was going through speech therapy as a kid, and he struggled to engage with his exercises. He just really wanted to play video games on his iPad. So our co-founder and CTO, he comes from an AI background and thought, why not make the video games the speech therapy exercise and meet him where he wants to be and what he wants to do. And that was really the genesis of our company and the genesis of our idea. So we try and bring that play-based approach throughout the products that we build. And we have a series of video games that children can play while they practice their speech therapy. And we utilize speech recognition technology to allow the children to play that video game. What that also allows us to do is to help therapists gather the data that they need in order to see, is the child doing their therapy, how often and how well. And then we track all of that performance data for a therapist to review in a central portal, where they can also go in and adjust exercises, assign them, and modify the therapy regimen as needed. All of this really allows for higher engagement by the child, increased data tracking for the therapist, so that they can really keep kids on track and make sure that they make progress faster. So again, that they can improve in not only in their speech therapy, but also in their general education as well.
Alex, and Ascendia is also using AI, but in a very different way. So would you mind sharing more about what you're doing today with Ascendia, how it's helping kids with speech therapy, and also the technical components that went into actually building it?
What we did is actually capitalize on the experience with our previous e-learning platforms. As I was saying, we've been developing content and educational platforms for the last 14 years. And what we've learned is that specialists and teachers need to create content actually in an iterative fashion. So we give them lenience to create something that is imperfect, but to also improve on that as they go along. So let's say you develop now a module for speech therapy. It doesn't have to be perfect. We provide the tools to build it. So we give you the tools and we also provide the training. You build it, and I need to stress that it doesn't need to be perfect. Once you deploy it, you receive feedback from either peers or direct kids, and you then improve that module and relaunch it. And the cycle repeats itself. This gives the platform and the content life. So it's not something great from the start, because we know that creating such content is extremely difficult and takes a lot of time. So what we try to do is provide the tools, provide the training, and provide the medium for the feedback.
I love the point you made about the community, and I think that is a massively important aspect when you're dealing with children. Obviously, their parents, their speech therapists, and obviously the community has gone through years of experiences of different technologies. If you were to think of the community and the feedback you're receiving from them, what is your wish, or I call this the magic wand? If you had a magic wand based on what you're hearing from the community, what would be the aim, or what would you like to be able to build in the next 5 years to help that community?
I think there's a couple things, if I can create a couple things with my magic wand. First, I think using some of the AI and speech recognition technology to provide parents a little bit of clarity and comfort at the beginning of their speech therapy journey. For a lot of parents, it can be quite daunting to know, does your child need speech therapy? What is speech therapy? Where do I look for resources? And so there's a great opportunity to use what AI and speech recognition can really do in terms of giving parents more of a clear jumping off point to know, okay, this is something that I need to be concerned about, or I need to go seek a professional, because what we hear from parents is they often struggle with, am I making a mountain out of a molehill? Will they develop naturally, or is it time to go get this treated? So that would be really my first magic wand ask. And then secondly, and this is something that we're really working on and building with the help of Microsoft's technology and the continued audio data that we collect, is really improving the speech recognition technology to a point where it's custom built for a child with a speech therapy need. We have great technology now, but it's not built for that specific use case. So really improving that to where it's built specifically for that population, and maybe even for that specific individual. That I think is really what will bring this technology to where it needs to be really, really, really impactful for this community.
We're all on a learning journey, so we're learning more about this particular topic of speech therapy, and especially applied to kids. If you were to give our audience homework in either educating themselves or how to be an ally, what is homework that you would recommend for our audience?
Okay, so to answer your question, I believe the homework should be related to getting other people engaged with your ideas. So creating working groups on particular topics. So if you're a specialist in speech therapy, don't just suffer in silence and trying to change the world just by yourself. Try to create momentum, gather people around you, other specialists, companies, institutions. Everybody should have something to say and control the direction. So, okay, we have this problem or this opportunity. Let's focus on it and get to a result. So something like no excuse, progress.
Similar to what Alex is saying, is to get out there and try some of these new products and these new ways of delivering speech therapy, and use them in your own practice, and then see and read some of the research, or even participate in the research to see how this can be really a tool for you to practice at the top of your license, and help the families that you treat. Because I think the best way this technology is going to impact this field in the next 5 years is really in this consultative care model, where it's really helping therapists to practice at the top of their license, like I said, and blend in with what they're already doing, and help families at home.
So one main aspect I can recommend, and something that should be of value, is that mistakes happen. and we need to show them as they happen, because nothing is perfect. So if we need to create real change, we need to start from one point and get to the other, because change won't happen overnight and won't be a perfect fix in deployment from the start. So it's a process. It will take a lot of time to create real change, and mistakes will happen along the way. But if we encourage those around us and we acknowledge that nobody actually is perfect, then we can really change the world for the better.
Yeah, I would echo that, and I would say that we're at a very nascent point in this journey as it applies to speech therapy, and I think that provides a lot of opportunities, but brings with it the need for a lot of patience. And so there's a lot of promise to what we can do, but we need to be patient and keep working at it and keep striving to solve the problems that exist, and understand, like Alex said, that it's not going to be perfect from the start. And we need the help of the community to get us there and to try these things and to work on this, and to help us improve it, because it's not possible without the help of the community. So get involved and help us help you, I guess, would be the takeaway.
Thank you both for joining and for the conversation today. It was great to learn more. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and let's continue to bridge the disability divide.